Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Prayer for Israel podcast. We have a whole host of things to bring to you today. So, first of all, we're just so excited that the hostages are coming home, and we're going to touch on a whole range of different things, such as Keir Starmer and his views on the ceasefire deal. I think Tommy Robinson even touched base in Israel this week. Plenty of other things that silly nations have done. So, we're going to look at those things and mainly just rejoice about the fact that the hostages are making their way home and have made their way home all week. So, David, you've got lots of stuff to show us. So, yeah, what do you think?
I think it'd be good to touch on the hostages, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers are aware of the situation that's happened with the hostages. The hostages have returned, but it's not been as clear cut as we'd hoped. There's a lot of difficulties, especially with the dead bodies that are still in Gaza. So I thought we could kind of look at that whole hostage situation and how we can pray over that, really. So I've got a just a few little resources that we can look through. Those who are familiar with Amir Safati, we follow his updates, and it's quite a shocking statistic. But alongside the hostages that have returned alive, we still have a total of 19 dead hostages that remain in Gaza.
At the time of recording,
so that's
people be quickly out of date, I'm sure.
Quite a tragic and sad statistic to see, and I think it'd be good for us just to pray over the families as they're obviously traumatized, and it's been a very sad situation for them.
Yeah, it's been really tough, and there's obviously all the families that are just waiting to just even put their relatives to rest. That's got to be hard. So it's been a week of mixed feelings in a way, but the positive thing is that those who are still alive and with us have been able to return home. So I think we've got some footage of things that have happened throughout the week as well that we could show people.
Yeah, so I've got a video of Gilbo Dalal, one of the hostages that returning to his family. It's quite a touching, nice little video. Okay, did a pause out there. Yeah, it goes on for about another minute, but I'm just thinking, can you imagine what these families have been through? 2 years the war's been going on for, not being able to see your family member. And it's not like they've been on a nice little trip abroad. They've been held hostage, living in horrible conditions.
And
it's so nice to see them.
Never knowing if they'll actually come back or whatever. The emotions just must be off the chart with that.
Yeah.
And for us as well, it's been such a great week for me to see these people come home, because we've been praying for this for over 2 years, and just to see the Lord answer those prayers is phenomenal.
Yeah, overwhelming, really.
We'll probably get into the ceasefire deal in a little moment, but Trump will claim that this is him bringing him home, but it's all in the Lord's timing at the end of the day, and he's the one gets to bring them home. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, I'm sure our viewers are as well, because in our prayer bulletin that we send out all these updates about the hostages, how to pray for them. I'm sure they've been almost invested in these people's lives and standing alongside them.
Yeah,
that's what it kind of feels like. It's not. I know it's not our family members, but it almost feels like it's part, like an external family member almost.
Yeah, and even worldwide, it's amazing how much these people have just been watched over. I saw that there was the head of I suppose it's the branch of NVIDIA, the tech company, that the head of that branch, I can't remember his name, but the head of the branch sent out an email every single day from October the 7th, reminding his whole team that he was a hostage, and just they watched over them. Such a huge impact on everybody, especially those in Israel. So it's so good to see.
Yeah. And then we got another video from, you say it's a court?
Yeah, I think that was just the lady announcing the fact that they were actually across the border. I think it was the first 4 that was sent across the border.
Sure, okay.
So, but again, showing how it's impacted the whole nation.
Yeah. But, going back to my comment, it hasn't been as clear cut as we'd hoped for. Though Hamas seem to be playing games. Hamas want to seemingly give up control of Gaza in the way that they've agreed to. Just going to chuck an article up here. Hamas won't give up arms or Gaza control despite agreeing to Trump deal. Now, this could sway things badly for the deal. It could, I don't know. We might not see the deal happen in the way that America and Israel are thinking it will happen because of their actions. And I know they are. I don't think they're handing over the deceased hostages in the way that they promised they would in the deal, which again is Hamas lying. Are we surprised?
Yeah, well, I find it interesting because they sent, I think, the 4th body that they'd sent back. So someone who was deceased, a hostage that was deceased. It turns out that there was confusion over that because originally the Israeli medics couldn't, or medical team couldn't confirm the body was an Israeli hostage, but then they thought it was a Hamas terrorist that they'd shipped over just because they didn't have a body. But it turns out it was just they couldn't say anything. They couldn't actually disclose who it was. So there was a lot of confusion about it. And it's very interesting because Hamas, who have got their health organization over there, who were immediately throughout the whole war able to declare who had died and who, and they'd kept tabs on everything the whole way along. As soon as it actually gets to a point of returning people back, the deceased hostages, they don't know where they are. So it's quite phenomenal that there's that discrepancy, and it just it shows that they're playing games.
Yeah, and I think it's also good for people to remind themselves this isn't a favor that Hamas are doing for Israel. This isn't we're going to hand over your hostages because we feel it's the right thing to do. It's a trade. It's a trade deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and obviously they've just been backed into a corner over the last, especially the last year. A lot of people keep going on about Israel's conduct in the war, which we've talked about many times. But the truth is, they were fighting Hamas and the terrorist organization there, and they've obviously got to a point where they, in essence, have had to surrender these hostages. But I don't really know what it would mean for them in the long term, because if they're not willing to give up control or give up arms, they've really lost their leverage, right, with the hostages. So if Israel have to go back in, or Trump approves them going in, which seems to be the running order of things at the moment, then in reality, what will happen? Because it almost gives Israel opportunity to just go in full force. So I don't really know what game they're playing with that. So if you've got a better idea than me, let me know in the comments.
I'm just having a look at the actual deal. I think we'll move on quickly, but just to say, I think 2,000 Palestinians from Israeli prisons, Palestinians, in exchange for 20 of the hostages. So 2,000 people that have been locked up for crimes that they committed are now being given back to those in Gaza
and
to Hamas.
many of those people were in. They were actually responsible for October 7th as well.
All right.
And I think Douglas Murray talks about this in his book, which I've promoted often, but I'd recommend anybody reading it. But interestingly, Yahya Sinwar, who instigated the October 7th attacks, actually it was his anniversary of his assassination. Well, not assassination. That's probably not the right word, but he got justice. Put it that way. He was released, a released prisoner, and he ended up conducting October the 7th. So they're the kind of people that Israel are willing to release to get their hostages back. But before we do move on, I know you want to move on to other things, but I think another thing to note here is the fact that since all the hostages have been returned home, it's a terrible situation for the Gazan population there now. We're not going to show these videos, and to be honest, I wouldn't recommend going to look for them because it's horrible to watch. But if you do see these videos, Hamas is going around just slaughtering Gazan civilians now. Anybody who's in opposition to them in their terrorist values and extreme agenda to murder Jews, they're just wiping them out, and it's really sad to see. So if you want to pray for something else, pray for the civilians in Gaza at the moment, because the release of the hostages has just made Hamas explode on them even more.
Absolutely. And for all those that say Israel are committing a genocide, just a small tangent here, but how is it that that's completely stopped since the hostage agreement has happened? If Israel were committing a genocide, why has that his contract and agreement been respected in this way, where you see Israel are now getting the hostages back and now it's stopped? Now, if the genocide claim was true, then they would continue, wouldn't they? They wouldn't stop until they were eradicated. So it's just another thing to consider, that when people claim that, how is it that now we're looking at the deal that's just happened, Israel have agreed to get the hostages back, and that's it. That's what they wanted from the start.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree, but also watch this space, because as we mentioned earlier, if Hamas aren't willing to disarm, which is also part of the deal, they have to disarm. If they don't, then that may start things up again. So watch the excuses come out again, against Israel, but Hamas needs to disarm. It's on them.
Yeah. And we know from last month that the UK, well, a few months back, I think, they chose to disarm Israel from a military standpoint. They were no longer willing to supply Israel with military support. Then last month, Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, came out and recognised a Palestinian state. And then, let's just show this little clip of the article here. Recognising Palestinian state from Keir Starmer helped get ceasefire. That's what he's legitimately come out and said. That he's had, because of what he said with the ceasefire, with the Palestinian state and recognising it, that's helped solidify the ceasefire deal. I mean, you couldn't write it, could you?
Yeah, I think it's going to go back to our conversation that we had. It must have been a few weeks ago now. I think it was a visit in Scotland that Donald Trump came to see it.
Yeah, that's it.
Where when Keir Starmer was with Donald Trump, he sort of cowers back into he sometimes looks like a little schoolboy, and then when Donald Trump leaves the room or the country, he starts to act all big and like he's done or achieved some great things, and I think the British population can just see right through it.
Yeah. Interesting though as well, because if Donald Trump thought that recognizing a Palestinian state would help get the ceasefire, why didn't America do it? It's,
Yeah.
you know, we're the UK nation recognizing a Palestinian state, pandering to what this the crowd wants, and here we are as Keir Starmer making claims that he's held the ceasefire agreement when it had nothing to do with Keir Starmer and the UK government. If anything, they hindered Israel.
Yeah, as well, just from a Christian standpoint on all of this, I was doing a study on Daniel recently, and one of the interesting things about when you look at the book of Daniel and the kings that were put in power by God, and that's the point actually, is that when these people are put in power, they are actually humbled. Like King Nebuchadnezzar was humbled back to the point of, I think he basically acted like an animal for like 7 years, and God humbled him so that Nebuchadnezzar would end up glorifying God for the kingdom that he had, and he said everything belongs to God, and so on. None of these world leaders are doing that. None of these world leaders are recognizing that God allows these things to happen, and he allows things such as a ceasefire, and he will put that in place. But unfortunately, we don't see any world leaders that are capable of doing that anymore.
No, exactly. And we see countries coming out and recognize a Palestinian state. We don't know, how that's going to turn out to be, especially with the recent deal that's happened and what that's going to look like moving forward. Did Spain, I know we have an article of Spain on it if you want to show our viewers, but I'm not sure if the Spanish government came out and approved a Palestinian state.
Spain were really they were going a lot further than the other countries, because I believe the Spanish Prime Minister, or equivalent of, whatever that is in Spain, he came out and said, well, if he had nuclear weapons, he would basically consider that.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yikes.
By the way, that's a paraphrase. So if you want to find out what he actually said, go and check it out for yourselves. But yeah, that was a few weeks ago, around about the time of the UNGA.
Yeah, and I'm sure people will continue to use the phrase "Free Palestine," even though we're seeing the hostage deal and these things take place. But in Spain, the hilarity of people who just commit to things because they want to commit to things, like the meaning of Free Palestine has lost its meaning even more so now, but people still want to commit to that. People still want to commit to them believing that they need to be freed. Quite a weird event that happened in Spain. We came across it from Amir Safati. Says, tomorrow in Barcelona, labor unions are holding a general strike against the war in Gaza. You might be wondering, the war is over, so what exactly are they protesting? The truth is, the strike was planned weeks ago, and now no one wants to give up their day off. So tomorrow in Barcelona, they'll be striking against a war that's already over. And it's like,
it's just so awkward.
They can't. Yeah, it's awkward, but they can't. These people who say Free Palestine and all this, like, are they happy the war's over? Are Israel still the bad guys? Is their agenda, like, are they? I feel like they're saddened they can't say these things anymore. They can't push their agenda because things are being resolved. It kind of sums it up in this.
Yeah, well, I think as well, further to that, it goes to show that it's more the anti-Semitic agenda that's behind it. Which is, we know this. It is the Hamas agenda of, the fact that we've had people across Europe calling for intifada is the same spirit. They want to eradicate the Jews, so their minds actually can't think straight anymore. So when there is actually a ceasefire, they still want to protest. It's bizarre. And I think if you go and read articles about this, again, there was violence at these protests. And at the same time, I believe there was a basketball match in Spain where where they were playing an Israeli team, and there were protests about that, and again, violence over a
Yeah.
Israeli team. So again, it's this anti-Semitism. It's not being dropped just because there's a ceasefire. People are still going to go and do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose that's my point, is that when people say free Palestine, it's not even about the message of what that means anymore. It's just the hatred of the Jewish people. They're not going to stop, regardless of what happens. They still think Israel is an illegal nation state. So, and they still think the Jews shouldn't live there. So it doesn't matter what kind of happens in the world in terms of ceasefire or any agreements. Even if I even think that even if a Palestinian state was recognized, I generally don't think that would be enough to these people. They still want an eradication.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right there, because the thing is, there already has been two-state solutions and so on. Because when Israel was reestablished, they already immediately, as soon as they were reestablished, they cut down the borders of Israel, and that's why we've got things like Transjordan,
Yeah.
which then they now call Jordan. And I don't think it'll ever be enough, because it's always an eradication of the Jews that they're after.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, swiftly moving on. I think a good thing to kind of finish on. Tommy Robinson, he's actually in Israel at the moment. Just landed a few days ago. I think it's going to be a quite interesting topic to follow. Who he's going to interview, who's going to meet over there, what's the feeling on the ground with Israelis over in the land. I just pulled up a post he's just done interviewing Amichai Chikli, which is the minister of the diaspora. So bear me just a moment, I'll just share this out. But I don't think we're going to watch the video, but it kind of, you can see it here. So Israeli minister exposes Keir Starmer's weakness. Now, these are people that we probably wouldn't hear the opinion of on mainstream media. And they're speaking to Tommy and they're just being honest. And I think that's really good for us to see, that these people who are high up in positions of the Israeli government having their opinion on how they feel about the other nations, which we don't actually see in mainstream media. But I'm sure he's going to keep us up to date with all the stuff that's going on in the land and who he's going to interview. So I'm quite excited to hear from what he's going to bring us.
Yeah, I think it's interesting as well, because Tommy's obviously all for Britain, and I think he can see the issues that are developing in the UK. Developing is probably something I should have said a long time ago, but this, it is still ongoing with the Islamization of the UK, and he can see it pretty clearly. And we did a podcast a few months ago about Tommy Robinson and his views on Christianity, and we've got to keep praying that he will become a Christian and give his heart to Christ. But at the same time, he's still got a very good and sharp mind, that he can recognize what's going on in the UK and how Israel are dealing with it. Because Israel see it on their doorstep all the time, so they know how to deal with it far better than any other country. And it's interesting because we don't often see our own politicians going over there to figure out and ask them about what they've done.
Yeah, exactly. And Tommy has a large following, and I think it's good for people to see what is happening over in Israel from an unbiased point of view. He's literally just holding the microphone to people and they're having their opinion. So yeah, I'm just quite excited to see what sort of content comes out of that, because I know that he's going to have some strong interviews, speaking to people that we wouldn't normally hear from. So hey, watch your space.
Yeah. Well, continue to pray that he gets saved as well, because I believe he is looking at the Bible.
Yeah.
I suppose for one little jolly to finish this off, if you've got it available, it'd be good to see the video of. Maybe we should have played it earlier, but it's always worth for a laugh. So as well, just a final little note. Donald Trump was giving his address about the ceasefire, and this hilarious little episode happened.
Yeah.
Where's the United Kingdom? Where's our friend? Come here. Is everything going good?
Very good.
It's very nice that you're here. These people all came in like 20-minute notice, and I think it's fantastic. And we have so many others, and just so many others. United Kingdom.
Okay, that'll do. But David showed me that the other day. I just thought it was worth a laugh because it really puts into perspective really who's holding the cards at the end of the day.
Yeah,
but
it's a good reflection on. It's a good reflection on the whole Israel deal as well. It's like Keir Starmer wants to have a say in it and says he thinks he's doing something, but let's be honest, who's actually organizing it all and making it, actually happen?
Yeah, and it's a good reminder to pray for our leaders. We're told in the Bible that we need to pray for our leaders. That doesn't mean we have to like them, but we need to pray for them. And if those leaders aren't listening to God, we need to pray for new leaders who will. So, and that's across the board, because I'm not sure on if Donald Trump's even doing that. He's just he likes to glorify himself a lot. So we want leaders that glorify God. That's the desire. So thank you everyone for listening to us. It's been there's been so much more that's happened this week, but these things that we thought we should touch on. So thank you, David, for bringing everything to the table so we could get through it. And please comment, let us know what you think. We'd love to hear more about how you'd like these podcast episodes to go. So we'd love your insight. Let us know in the comments, and it'd be great to hear from you. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
God bless.